Hello guys, today we are going to learn about Brown-Séquard syndrome. This is a slide of symptoms that are seen with the Brown-Séquard syndrome. Let's start with the basics. This is the transverse section of the spinal cord. This side is called dorsal side. This is the ventral side. The small canal in the spinal cord is called central canal. Around central canal there is H-shaped gray matter present that has two horns. The one that is at the ventral side is called ventral horn, and the one that is on the dorsal side is called dorsal horn. Outside the H-shaped gray matter there is white matter present. In some segments we can also see lateral horn present. In the spinal cord there are two types of fibers. Number one is ascending fibers and number two is the descending fiber. The fibers that carry sensation from periphery to the brain is the ascending fibers, and the information from the brain to periphery is being taken via the descending tract. Ascending tract has two types, mainly three types, but we will talk about only two because this is only important for our Brown-Séquard syndrome. So ascending tract has two types, spinothalamic tract and dorsal column tract. As you can see the location of spinothalamic tract, which also have two types, anterior and lateral. If the tract present lateral to the H-shaped gray matter, that is called lateral, and if it is anterior, then it is called anterior spinothalamic tract. According to the location they have given the names. And in the dorsal part there are two tracts, fasciculus gracialis and fasciculus cuneatus. We will talk about them in detail after some time. And descending tract has two types, pyramidal tract and non-pyramidal tracts. Pyramidal tract, which is also called corticospinal tract. Alright, which has two types, lateral and anterior. So ascending tract or spinothalamic tract, which has two parts, anterior and lateral. It carries the information of pain, temperature, crude touch and pressure from the periphery to the cerebrum. Information comes via the peripheral nerves to the dorsal root ganglion. After dorsal root ganglion, it enters the spinal cord and goes to substantia gelatinosa nucleus. After going to substantia gelatinosa nucleus, it divides into two parts. Some fibers that carries the information of crude touch and pressure go to anterior spinothalamic tract, and fibers that carries the sensation of temperature and pain will go to lateral spinothalamic tract. Then the information goes up to cerebrum. So let's read about it. Sensory information enters via dorsal root ganglion to the substantia gelatinosa, crossing of fibers in the spinal cord, and then they ascends up. After entering the spinal cord, fibers ascends 2 to 3 segments and then cross. Right? The second ascending tract is dorsal column tract. I already told you it has two type of tracts, fasciculus gracialis and fasciculus cuneatus. Fasciculus gracialis receive the sensations or information from the lower limb, and fasciculus cuneatus from the upper limb. Alright, it carries the information of fine touch, vibration and conscious proprioception. And in this diagram we can see the information from upper limb and lower limb goes to their respective tract, then the information ascends up at the same side only, to their respective nucleus, and in the medulla itself the crossing happens. So remember, in the dorsal column crossing happened at the level of medulla. This is important to us. Now let's talk about the descending tract, which is also called pyramidal tract or corticospinal tract. The information that starts from primary motor area, premotor area, and the primary sensory area from the cerebral cortex comes first to the lower medulla. In the lower medulla, 80 to 85% fiber cross, and this crossing is called pyramidal decussation. 80 to 90% fiber crosses over to the other side and pass through lateral column and forms lateral corticospinal tract. Alright, 10 to 15% of fibers remains on the same side and passes through the anterior column and forms anterior corticospinal tract. So lateral corticospinal tract and anterior corticospinal tract, right? After that, the fibers from the lateral corticospinal tract goes to ventral horn and then goes to contralateral side. Alright, and also the fibers from the anterior corticospinal tracts go to the contralateral horn, contralateral ventral horn, and then the information goes out to the contralateral side. So we can see both lateral corticospinal tract fiber and anterior corticospinal tract fibers, they both go to the same side, same contralateral side. Alright, so 100% of the fiber crosses over. Now one thing also we have to learn, that before this nucleus that is present in the spinal tract, the fibers coming from cerebral cortex to this nucleus is called upper motor neurons, and after this nucleus the fibers that are going to the periphery is called lower motor neurons. Okay, now so till now we read about three tracts: spinothalamic tract, which crosses over in the spinal cord, dorsal column tract, and pyramidal tract, both crosses over at the level of medulla. With that information, we can say that for dorsal column and pyramidal tract there will be ipsilateral symptom to the site of lesion. Now let's understand all with the help of the line diagram. In spinothalamic tract, at the level of lesion, some fibers must be crossing the spinal cord, and because of the lesion the fibers will get cut. We also know that the some fibers that has already crossed below level will pass from here. Because of this interruption in the fibers or cut in the fibers that are crossing, it will show symptoms of ipsilateral loss of pain, temperature, crude touch, and pressure. And because of the cut in already crossed fiber, they will show symptoms of contralateral loss of pain, crude touch, pressure at below the level of lesion. Okay, same goes with the dorsal column tract. In dorsal column tract, we already read that the crossing happen at the level of medulla. So hemisection will show symptoms of ipsilateral loss of fine touch, vibration, and conscious proprioception at the level of lesion and also below the level of lesion. As you can see, because of the lesion, the fibers that are going from here and going from below, they both will get cut. So at the level and below the level, there will be ipsilateral loss of fine touch, vibration, and conscious proprioception. In the pyramidal tract, as we read in detail about the upper motor neurons and lower motor neurons, because of the hemisection, if upper motor neuron fiber gets cut, this will show symptoms of spastic paralysis. Below the level of lesion, and hemisection of the lower motor neurons fiber will show signs of flaccid paralysis at the level of lesion. You can see the fibers that are going down will show symptoms below the level of lesion, while the lower motor neurons that are coming outside of the spinal cord at the site of lesion will show symptoms at the level of lesion, as seen in the diagram. So finally, now we can understand this slide very easily. Let's read this. Hemisection of the spinal cord findings. If there is upper motor neuron hemisection, that will show signs of, we already learned about it, that it will show signs of ipsilateral spastic paralysis below the level of lesion. Alright, and lower motor neuron signs will cause flaccid paralysis at the level of lesion because of which tract? Pyramidal tract. Okay. Now, there will be ipsilateral loss of tactile vibration proprioception because of the dorsal column tract, and because of the spinothalamic tract there will be contralateral pain temperature loss at below the level of lesion and ipsilateral loss of sensation at the level of lesion. So this completes our video. This is the summary of all the signs and symptoms that we have learned. If you have any doubt about it, feel free to comment.